Hello, you're watching MelMade. My name's Mel. This is episode 4. I am coming to you from the northeast of England. As you may be able to tell by my voice, anyway, I am not from the northeast of England. I have friends up here who said, "You're not from the northeast." I'm not saying I'm from the northeast. I'm from Reading, which is in the south, but I moved up here many, many years ago. And I'm broadcasting to you from the northeast of England, which is a very beautiful part of the world. I could be found on Instagram as MelMade at MellyArt13. I can never quite remember that. I always have to have a little think. And Ravelry as, pretty sure it's MellyArt, could be MellyArt13. Have a look. Okay, if you want. So it's about 4 weeks since I last recorded. And I've done lots of knitting and I've also managed to injure myself, but we'll come on to that in a minute. We will start with what I'm wearing. I am wearing my Samphrey. Now, I wasn't knitting this before. I completed this in the beginning of the year. I love it. It's one of my favourite things ever, I have to say. You know, it's a Marie Wallen design. I knitted it with Jamieson's of Shetland. I'll just get up so you can see it. Isn't it beautiful? And it's just got cold enough to wear it again, so I couldn't resist wearing it this time. And the part of the reason I've worn it is because it goes really well with my trousers. I have finished my trousers. The trousers are, oh my goodness, I'll put the maker's name as Anna, and I've forgotten, I think it's Anna Allen. She's the designer, and it's the Persephone Pants. And I'm going to get up so you can sort of see them, but I will also put a photo or video in because it's hard to see, I think, here. Hold on. Just go over here. No, don't bark. Oh my goodness, stop it. Right, so I don't know if you can see them. I'll come a bit closer as well. I am really, I've got my belt on. I'm really pleased. There's little bird fabric in the pockets. It's a lovely pattern. It's got a button-up fly, it's got belt loops, it's got little front pockets. There's no side seams. It's based on, I think, a 1930s sailor pattern. So there's just one piece for each leg. The last time that I was discussing this, I was really scared. I'd cut out most of the pieces. I thought I had to seam the waistband together because there was a whole big drama when I cut out the waistband out of one of the legs. Oh, it was awful. And then I thought, oh, I've got to cut the waistband like it says. I can't remember if it's waft or weft or whatever, but with the little lines going like this, that's how I thought I had to cut the waistband, because I looked it up online and there was one woman getting in like a right tiz because everyone was doing it wrong. Anyway, a lovely lady commented, hold on, I'm just going to look for your name. I know your name. Jeannie R commented and said, yeah, you don't need to do that. You can have the lines going like that. It's absolutely fine. And Jeannie, I've never met you. I've always liked you. Thank you, Jeannie. So I did it. I thought, fine. I cut it with the little lines going like that because I didn't have enough fabric to do it with the little lines going like that. And it's worked really, really well. I'm so pleased with them. Everybody, there's a lot of Instagram followers of this pattern. And everyone that's made it, nearly everyone I've seen that hasn't had the size right, has said it was too big and they had to size down to get it to work. Despite this, and I looked at the measurements, and I'm normally a 12-ish, a UK 12, but I looked at the measurements and it said, it just looked like I was going to be a 14 because of my hips, and I was like, well, that's a bit big. But I'm so, as a newbie sewer, I was so scared of making them too small. I don't know why really, because the corduroy the fabric I use is a little bit of stretching. So, you know, if probably a more experienced sewer would have gone, that'd be okay. But I erred on the side of being a bit baggy. So they are baggy, they're comfy, they're roomy. I'm really happy with them. They're supposed to be like casual trousers, and my eldest says it's like the 90s look, so I can remember the 90s the first time round. But fine, you know, we're on trend apparently. But they're comfortable and lovely and cosy for the winter. But if I made them again, I probably would make this pattern again, definitely. I actually did enjoy it. I would size down, especially with the fabric with a little bit of stretch. Even without a bit of stretch, I think I could have gone a size down. So just if you're thinking of making them, you know, you might want to be bold and go a size lower than you think you should. That might work. Just have a cup of tea. Hold on. Yeah, that's my trousers. and they match my Samphrey. They also match my Unst. I've been getting a lot of wear out of everything already, very happily. So we'll move on to finished objects. Now, I haven't got it with me, but I finished my transparent. It's a Kim Hargreaves design that I knitted for my friend for her 40th, and I'll put some footage in here. She did a twirl. She's like, Mel, that is the most awkward thing you've ever made me do, doing twirls, but it's nice to see. And she says, oh, she said something really nice. She said, oh, it's like a baby alpaca's hugging me, because it's made out of the fibre space cumulus that I'm obsessed with, and it's a combination of baby alpaca and silk, so it's like a mohair equivalent, but it's really soft. I think some mohairs I find a bit scratchy. This one is so soft. Oh, it's gorgeous. And it's knitted with 2 strands of that, and with one big needle and one little needle in the stockinette, so that it's got like big and little, big and little. It's a really simple, nice design. It's meant to be reversible, but I think she prefers it with the v-neck rather than that. Anyway, she got it for her birthday, and now she's wearing it, and she might be wearing it now, I don't know, but I haven't got that with me, but I'll put some footage in so you can see it, and she's happy, so that was lovely. And that was an easy knit. If anyone fancies trying it, Kim Hargreaves, then she's known for very detailed, not basic, there's lovely little details to them, but a lot of her designs are easy to knit, and they're very well written, I think, and they're quite classic. So if anyone fancies trying Kim Hargreaves, I recommend that one. Although if you need 2 strands of a silk mohair, it probably will end up being on the pricey side, so it depends on how you're feeling with your budget, because we're all squeezed at the minute, I think. Yes, so that is one finished object. The next finished object I've got is my Alaska. I should be wearing this, but it doesn't go as well with my trousers. Look, hang on. Can I put it? Can you see? Look at the little trees. I love trees. So I saw this and I was like, I'm going to knit that. I will put a picture in of me wearing it, but here. Oh. Now, I think the last time I discussed this, yes, last time, I had initially knitted all of it and it looked totally wrong. It was too baggy here and tight down there. And I don't mind it being tight around my tummy. But it was baggy up here, and it just was. I used the wrong size needles. I checked my gauge, loosened up, forgot to recheck it, and it all went very wrong. So thought, right, I'm going to pull it all out. I'm going to just rip it out. I ripped it out to the top of the body. I thought I'll re-knit the yoke, and I reckon I can graft it together. That was my plan. It was a silly plan because I had the wrong stitch count, because I sort of messed about with the gauge and the stitches and thought I was being clever. Stitch didn't work, but it wasn't just that. I probably could have adjusted it, but the fabric I was knitting with the right needles at the correct gauge felt so different. I went down from a 4.5mm to a 4mm, so I didn't think it would be huge, but the fabric that I was knitting felt so different to when it was 4.5. It was just less flexible and more dense, and not in a bad way, but it was just going to feel and look weird, I think, if I'd grafted it. I used Jamieson's of Shetland DK. Honestly, I know I always stick with what I know, I suppose, but I love this wool so much. It's a bit prickly, and for somebody who's got sensitive skin and thought they could never use itchy wool, I've become obsessed with a really scratchy wool, but it softens after use. And like this, I've had this for a few months, and you can definitely feel the difference in softness. This has gone a lot softer, and I think it will soften up even more. The shades that I've used, they're so heathered. I've already shown you one episode, but you can't see too many beautiful blues, can you? Is Twilight is the lighter blue, and Dusk is the darker purpley blue, and those names just go together so well. I mean, they do like to use, I've noticed, sort of nature-based names for their yarn colours. Oh, so I'm very pleased with my Alaska. It isn't, I think I had in my head, I don't know why, I had in my head I'll knit it as a big oversized jumper, and it's not. It fits like it should fit. I lengthened the body slightly because I'm long-waisted. It's quite a boxy fit, and it fits well. But I don't know why I just decided it would be a big baggy sweater, because I knew I was knitting a pattern that was designed to be that fit, so I would have had to do a lot more adjustment and calculations. I don't know whether I thought in my head, oh, going up a needle side will just achieve that, but it didn't with the yoke. But it's a lovely weekend jumper. I'm really, really happy with it, and finally I've got it. But it took me a lot longer than I thought, because once I realised I couldn't graft things together because it wasn't going to feel right, that meant I was going to have to re-knit the arms, re-knit the body, and I got really impatient with it. I think by about the time of the first sleeve I was like, oh, this is taking ages, and then I just remembered, I was like, I don't know why I'm being like this, because actually I am re-knitting the entire thing. I'm not just re-knitting bits of it, because that's what I had in my head to get me through maybe. No, I re-knitted the whole jumper, and that took, well, you know, you could see where I was last time. I was about down to here, so yeah, not bad, and I'm really pleased. So that is one finished object, or the second finished object. Now I have a third, but it's the one that you saw last time. But there is a reason for showing you my Unst again, not just because I love it. Hang on. My tea is just at that perfect temperature. I've got to keep drinking it. Right, I showed you this last time. The reason I'm showing you again is because last time I think I pointed out there was a jog. I'll put a picture up. At the button band, the stripes, the Fair Isle strips weren't lining up. They'd gone a bit squiffy by the end. And I was saying, oh, well, I don't really mind, I can live with it. And then I kept looking at it, and I said to my partner, I don't know if I should change it. And he was doing something, and he didn't even look up, and he said, you've already decided you're going to do it, so just do it. And I was like, And then, who was it? I'm just looking. Adele in Oz pointed out that she could see that the bottom band was actually smaller on the right than the left. Yeah. And they're not smaller, they've got the same amount of rows. And I was like, oh, that's it, right? No, Adele, thank you, you're right. And I just, all I needed to do was rip out one, I think it was this side, so that's my left. I ripped out this button band, picked up the stitches, being really careful to make sure everything was in the right place, re-knitted it, and everything just evened itself out. So here is the finished one, and it's all lining up, and I'm very happy. So I get to show you again, and obviously it goes well with the trousers. And again, this is the Jamieson's, the Shetland, the Spindrift, and it feels quite rough. It is rough wool, it's rustic wool, it still smells sheepy, but compared to this feels a bit softer. So yeah, I'm going to knit more with that wool, and it's very affordable actually. For the quality of it, it's very affordable. So which is a nice change, spending too much money on wool recently. They were my finished objects, very pleased with them. Onto my whips. Whip number one. My nephew, as I've said in previous episodes, has asked me to knit him a Christmas panda jumper. He's 8. And we managed to find a panda pattern. I amended it, I did a little graph and put a Santa hat on it. And this is what I have so far. See? It's really jaunty. Oh, I am pleased with this one, and I hope Henry will be pleased as well. There are a few pitfalls. To start with, it is knitted in Sirdar Snuggly, which is a combination of cotton and acrylic. It's very soft, and my sister's house is very warm. She's worried about the children being too hot in jumpers, and I thought that'll be washable. She could put it in the tumble dryer. Brilliant. But when I was shopping for the colour, I think the other contrasting colours in this weren't right, and I went down a rabbit hole, got obsessed with finding the right colour in cotton, and then forgot to check anything else. So I ended up getting, oh, I can't find the label, hold on, Hooked soft cotton DK in a sort of dark charcoal grey and a red. And they're nice colours, and I was pleased with them, but I don't know why I did this. They're DK, they're cotton, but they're thicker. The way that they are, the nature of the fabric is that they are thicker than the white. So we have a situation where they're standing out. with them being cotton and with the white being cotton acrylic, blocking is unlikely to help. Normally I would rescue my colour work with a good bit of blocking and get everything sort of enmeshed and sorted out. So it does stand a little bit proud of, it stands out a bit. I don't know if that's necessarily a huge problem. It's not what I pictured it would be like, but I don't think it's the end of the world. What almost was the end of the world was that after I'd knitted the panda face and the little panda hat, and I was all sort of happy about it, and I just looked at the label of the hook DK and it said wash with similar colours. I was like, oh, that was a bit of a problem. So I was on the phone to my mum and I was like, Mama, the hooked soft cotton is also, oh sorry, it also said hand wash only with similar colours, and that wasn't, I was trying to be a kind sister to my sister and give her this machine washable jolly thing. And I rang my mum up and I was like, oh Mum, I said everything's got to be washed separately. The colours might run, I don't know what to do. And Jess isn't going to be very happy when she gets this white jumper that she's got to hand wash when she's got like a job and children and things. So my mum lives over the road and I think she was quite excited to be involved. She was like, I'll wash it. Anytime she needs washing, I'll come over and I'll hand wash it. She likes hand washing, which is very kind of her. So I said, oh, thank you. I said, first I've got to find out if it's going to run. If the colours run and it all goes pink and grey as soon as I wash it, then it's game over really. I'll have to just re-knit. So I got my swatch and I've left it upstairs, but I stitched in some of the red and I stitched in some of the grey, and I went and I soaked it and I did a cold water wash with a little bit of lavender leave-in wash. I soaked it, squished it, squeezed it out gently, dried it. No colours have run, so pretty sure that will be okay. So yeah, there have been some pitfalls, but not to be deterred. Got one more sleeve to go. I've had to rewrite the pattern a bit because it only went up to age 5 and Henry's 8, he's long, he's tall. So I've been doing some maths. I'm smiling because my maths isn't amazing, and I'm still figuring out how to shape the tops of sleeves to fit in armholes. I'm still figuring out how to write those. But I did something that worked, just about, and I've got this, what I did here written down, so I can replicate it here. I'm going to see them at the end of October, so I'm hoping to have it done for then, and he can have it for wearing in December or November, whenever my sister puts up a Christmas tree. It's rather early, too early for me, but they can get in, if they're in the Christmas vibe early, he can get maximum wear out of it. So there you go. So that's whip number 1. I will put up the pattern. I can't remember the pattern, it's on my tablet. I'll put the name of the pattern and the designer that did the panda face, because it's a really cute design. I think it was in Taja. Whip number 2. This is the Carter hoodie by Kim Hargreaves. I do love my Kim Hargreaves patterns. This was chosen by my eldest child. They wanted a big black, I mean they've got thousands of big black cuddly hoodies, but not as cuddly as this one. They wanted another big black hoodie knitted by me. Well, I wanted to knit them something, and that was the only thing they actually thought they would wear, so there we are. This is it so far. This is the right side. It's knitted in reverse stockinette, if you can see it. It is quite black. It might be blowing out a little bit. There we go. Oh, it's lovely and soft and squishy. I'm knitting it in Rowan brushed fleece. It's very soft, it's very cuddly. It's a combination of extra fine merino and baby alpaca. You know what I like. And they're really happy with it, with the feel of it so far. I could probably have finished this if I hadn't injured my elbow, and I think I've injured it doing this. I was going to talk about this later, but I'm actually going to talk about it now, because when I look at it I just think injured. So as you can see, I'm using my needles that I absolutely adore. These are my Chow Gu, is that how you pronounce it? I got a set as a big treat for myself last year, and I'm really glad I did. They're like the Rolls Royce of knitting needles as far as I'm concerned. Oh, maybe these are too slidey for this. Don't know what if any of you found that. Anyway, I think these are stainless steel or aluminium tips, the metal tips, and they're very nice metal. I should know more, but I don't. I've knitted away, and I suppose I do get a bit focused on the end result with my knitting. I am a project knitter. I sometimes will rush away just wanting to get to the point where it's finished and I'm really happy about it, and then I'm moving on really quite fast to the next project. And I would like to be more of a process knitter and try and be in the moment and just enjoy it, because for me knitting is a very mindful and relaxing when I'm not getting too excited about the finished object. It's a sensory experience, it's rhythmic, it grounds you, and I find that it's really, really helpful for, I think, for my well-being. I think I fiddle all the time. I'm always messing about with my hair and with my neck, and actually when I'm knitting, I've got my energy's focused somewhere, which is really, really good. So I was probably getting a bit too excited about the finished object. I've got lots of whips on the go, and I feel like I've got deadlines. One's for Christmas, this is before it gets too cold. I've got another one that's for a birthday. I just finished one for a birthday, and as I was knitting, I noticed that my left elbow was just starting to burn a bit at the joint. Now I have had this before, but I've normally shifted position and it's just gone away. It's just a niggle that's gone away, but this got worse and worse, and I was being ridiculous and knitting through it because I was just like, oh, just go away, stop aching. Because I was surprised, because I'm right-handed and I do all the work, I thought, with this hand. Now I can't make you see. I'll put in some footage of how I knit, because I think my technique might be to blame, and you all might have some views on this, because I'm sure you've all got different knitting styles, and I'd be really interested to see them and know how different people knit. I knit English style. I'm a thrower. When I'm good, I'll show you from here, but I will put some footage in. I have both hands, I have this right needle, left or right needle, supported there, and I'll flick like this. When I'm being a bit like, I don't know, when I've got a short row, or the way I learned when I was little was to just do this and let go of the needle and then do that and wrap and turn. So I would just be like that. So this arm is doing all the work. This sits, but what this left arm does do is shuttle the stitches along and sometimes twist to help when I'm doing my pearls and when I'm doing my knits. So it didn't like that. So I think I'm not a doctor, okay, I'm not pretending to be a doctor, and I haven't gone to the doctors. I've just had a look online, so anything I'm saying now is not medical advice, and it's don't pay too much attention to it. But in my little head, I've decided I've got something like golfer's elbow, which is apparently brought on by twisting, and it can be a burning sensation here. It can radiate out, which it is doing, just a little bit. I'm a baby about pain, but it's enough to be uncomfortable, and obviously I don't want to carry on doing it and damage myself and not be able to knit for a long time. So yeah. So that's what I think I've got, and I think it's from this twisting motion that I've got. So if any of you have got any advice as to how I can knit without twisting, or with keeping this arm more still, I mean, I can in theory continental knit, but I think that would mean me doing more work with the left hand, not less. So I don't know if that's a solution. So yeah, I'll talk more about what I'm doing about my little elbow problem later on. The fun just never stops, does it, when you're a knitter? So this is my work in progress for my eldest child. The Carter hoodie, it looks like a nice pattern, there's pockets in the front. And once I can knit again, I think it will be really speedy. I mean, you know, when you've got 6mm needles, knitting with a chunky wool, it just knits up so fast. Just got a little bit overexcited and carried away with that one. So that is whip number 2. Whip number 3. Whip number 3 is something I'm knitting for my best friend's baby. He's going to be 1 soon, and for the baby shower I knitted him this. You can see that, it's Lang Yarns Yak. And I knitted it in a grey Women's Institute DK, which is acrylic, premium acrylic yarn. So I'll show you that there. And I think, in theory, little one's mum would have preferred it to be cream, but then I think she realised the grey was actually very practical because of the, didn't show any food stains, crumbs, sick or anything like that. And she's actually liked it so much that she's asked for another one for his first birthday, which is really sweet. I'm very touched. So I'm knitting another one. Obviously everything's stalled because of my stupid elbow, but that's as far as I've got with that. I'm just setting up the back. It looks really wide. This is the next size up that I knitted before. I initially did it on 4.5mm needles. Again, I don't know why I thought that would be a good idea, and then pulled that out because it was wide enough for a cardigan for me, and he's only one. And now I'm knitting this. It still looks wide, but I mean, babies grow. It doesn't matter if it's a bit baggy. I'm just going to do what the pattern says. It's the next size up to the one I knitted last time, so it must have been huge when he was born. But that is something I'm going on with again. That won't take very long once I can knit again. So that is ongoing. And right, this isn't a whip. Well, it actually is a whip, but it's also a hoe. It's a half finished object. Last time I had a little, not a moan, yeah, it was a bit of a moan. I'm knitting my dad some socks for Christmas because his other socks that I knitted him didn't fit. And when I say Christmas, I mean last Christmas, not this Christmas. Unless he loves them so much that they work for two. No, I won't do. I will give him a present this Christmas. Scratch that. So I'd done, last time I'd just turned the heel, and I was very much like, it's like, I need to do these, I can do these, but I do a round and then I wander off and do something else. It's a complicated pattern, and it's not like I can just take the sock out and just knit, you know, and not think about it like I normally would with a basic sock pattern. So after last podcast, I decided actually I'm gonna spend half an hour every day on these until they're done. I know that Constance from Stitching Over the Days, that was something that she used to do and it used to work really well. I really missed that podcast. She's been off for a while, but yeah, I thought that's a good idea. So I've sort of done it. I didn't do it every day for 30 minutes, I'm gonna be really honest, but I did do it quite a lot of days for 30 minutes, and this is what we have. A sock. A hoe, if you will. There you go. I'm pleased with it. These are the Unity socks. They are in the 52 Weeks of Socks book. They are by Nina Tanskanen. That pronunciation might be wrong. A bit like with the Alaska sweater, the designer, I should have said before, is Camille Descoutu, and I pronounced it Descoutu last time. And a lady from Canada, I think she's from Canada, was just like, no, and told me how to pronounce it. And I did French at school, and I was thinking, oh, no wonder they didn't like me in Paris. I was like butchering their language. No excuse. Anyway, if there are any, I think that looks like a Norwegian name, but if there are any Norwegian people there watching that can correct me on my pronunciation, feel free, here to learn. But yeah, I think he will like them. And again, once I can knit again, I will cast on. I think it needs a long tail cast on for the top. I need to cast on the next one and crack on. I always need to watch a YouTube video for a long tail cast on because I usually use, I don't know what my cast on's called, it's just like I knit one and then knit another one and then add it onto the needle and just do that. And it's not a stretchy cast on, but it does work for most things, but for the tops of socks you need a stretchy cast on. But I need to sit down, have my elbow feeling okay, and then cast on the next one, and I will get there eventually. So that's my hoe. Always amuses me that. Future plans. I am into purchasing wool, but I don't want to do a sort of section where it's like, look what I've bought, because I think everyone in the UK at the moment, we're in the middle of a bit of a crisis. I don't know if anyone, a lot of you watch around the world might not know. Some of you might know and be like, oof. No one's got any money, inflation's hideous, all our wages are worth less. We are being, don't want to get too political, but we're being shafted with our energy prices. They're just like whoosh, and there's a lot of profit being made, and we're probably, a lot of us are going to be cold this winter. So it's probably, you know, A, I can't afford lots of wool at the moment, and B, if I could, I think it probably would be a bit tactless to be like, da, 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 da. What I wanted to do was a section on just future plans, because even if you don't have to have the wool to have a desire to knit something, and then you could always, you know, it could be just that you're thinking, what yarn equivalent can I use? How can I keep the cost down if it's a little bit too expensive for me? So having said all of that about money and stuff, I went to Yarndale. It's the first time I've been to a wool festival, and I went last Sunday. My partner went down with me, and we had a brilliant time actually. I think he was a bit like, oh god, what am I doing here? But I go to football matches with him, so he can come to, you know, wool festivals with me, and I think he did enjoy it. You would have enjoyed it even more if there was a real ale tent and a band. Anyone watching from Yarndale, just putting it out there. But we had a good time. And when I was there, I did get some bits and pieces, and one of them is because I am planning on knitting the Elsk Dress by Gudrun Johnson. It is a gorgeous roll-necked, is it called roll neck or is it turtleneck? Anyway, it's a gorgeous dress. I want to do the high neck version, and I want to do it in a chocolate brown. But the Fair Isle pattern is on the sleeves and on the bottom, and it's in some beautiful neutrals in the original, and I want to go more for pinks and blues and things. So I already have this. This is some Toft wool. It's very fine, it's chocolate. I think it's natural coloured actually. Oh, yum, yum, yum. I bought this ages ago with this in mind, so I've already got that. So I went around trying to find the stalls, trying to see if I could get some mini skeins to do the colours. It actually worked out quite well price-wise. And I went to the Ducky Darling stall. What a great name. And these are the colours that I got. I've got the brown behind it so you can see. I don't know the names of them. They're in their little mini skeins. I don't even know what wool they are. I think they're merino. Isn't that bad? I don't know, but they feel very smooth, the drapey. They'll go really well, I think, with the chocolate. And I mean, I've never done a Fair Isle pattern where I've just chosen my own colour, so this is a bit of an experiment. Now, they didn't have any white left, but I went to another stall and I got some, I think it was it the Kinross stall? I meant to write it down. Well, it's called Kinross 4-ply, and I hope it was from the Kinross stall and that I'm giving somebody the right amount of credit. And that's the shade is called Snowdrop. Isn't that nice? I haven't seen that before. So that is the white, just to set it all off. Hold on. So can you see what that's going to be like? I hope they work together. I think, yeah, it'll be nice. I'm really excited about that. And that's something that I probably would start in the new year. So it's from the Shetland Trader book. So it's from that one. Here we go. That's what it's like. Isn't it bonny? So that is what I want to knit. And yeah, Gudrun Johnson, I think this is based on her mother used to have in Scotland a shop called the Shetland Trader, and some of her patterns, I think she's rewriting some of the patterns and based them on her mother's patterns. But I do believe that some of the dress ones would have been machine knitted for the plain parts. So I'm anticipating a lot of knitting and it to take a while. I don't want to show you the chart in case that's bad, but there, like, that's what it's going to be like. So that is my future plans, and I was really pleased to find the little mini skeins to go with that. And I also, and this is going to be my last purchase for a while, after saying I can't afford wool, I did get some wool from it's called Lammermuir wool. It is an Aran, again it's a Shetland wool, and it's quite smooth. I think it's not as scratchy as the Spindrift, so I think it's quite smooth. I think it'll blossom when it's blocked. And I'm planning to pair this with a grey, again in the Cumulus, because this could be paired with a mohair for this pattern. And I want to knit the Magnolia cardigan. I can't remember who that's by, but I'll put it up here. That is my plan. I'm dying to start that. I just think it's a really pretty, it's got all these bobbly details here, and I want to knit it a little bit, maybe a size up, and have it over dresses and things for the winter and it to be cosy. Excited for that one. Again, because I'm trying to knit a few more neutral pieces because I don't have a lot of neutrals. And that is my plan. And I think that's all I bought from there. I could have bought more because there were so many gorgeous stalls and interesting people there. and I will put some footage at the end of this podcast. I'll put some footage of what we managed to capture when we were there. It was really, really fun, and I definitely would want to go back next year. I'll tell you now about my elbow. You know, I've already asked if any of you have got any advice or any techniques that you use that do keep this arm totally static with minimal twisting of the wrist. That would be really, really helpful. I am planning to rest my elbow for, I don't know, I know I probably should say 2 weeks, but I don't know how good I can be. And it might just be a few days, but it's not hurting that much anymore. I just have a feeling that if I start up again too soon, it'll just be uncomfortable again. I am treating it by, see, I've had niggles before, but what I've done before is I've thought, you know, am I hydrated enough? Normally the answer's no. Have I done any yoga recently? Normally the answer's no. So I go and do some yoga. I drink my water, my fruit tea, my herbal tea, and it just sort of sorts itself out. But this time it hasn't. But then I was thinking, like, the last week I've been eating rubbish. I've had too much sugar. I haven't had my normal vitamins that I would normally have. And that probably hasn't helped. So because I want to fix everything right now, I went out yesterday. I've done some research and heard that turmeric, I don't know how you pronounce that, is really good for inflammation. And I love turmeric tea. I love my herbal teas. But I went to get some supplements. I got some fish oil supplements as well to try and make sure my joints are okay. And I got some turmeric supplements, and I got some turmeric tea, which is delicious. It's the pucker tea. I'm not sponsored, I really love pucker teas. I love all herbal teas. And so I'm trying that out to see if that helps, and I'm sort of making sure that I don't eat as much rubbish, that I eat some good food, and that I get a bit more sleep. I think that might help as much as anything. So we're going for a holistic approach, everybody. I'm really struggling without being able to knit, even though it's only been a couple of days. I'm just like a bit of an addict, you know, like people with cigarettes, you see them doing this, that's what I'm doing. So I keep cleaning up and tidying. The house will look lovely by the time my elbow's better. Yeah, so that is how I'm trying to treat it, and we'll see how it goes. I really hope I just get sorted out. I'm watching my knitting podcast and I'm so jealous. Look at them knitting. I wish I could knit, even though I only really properly stopped on like Thursday and it's now Sunday. It's the reason I like herbal tea, and she doesn't know this, but there's another podcaster called Merryweather Knitting Podcast. She's called Gabriella, and that was the first knitting podcast apart from fruity knitting that I really got into. And I found her on Ravelry when I just came onto Ravelry. I stumbled across a thread where she was hosting a Alice Starmore Tudor Rose knit along, and I joined in, and it's the first thing I'd ever joined in with. She was very sweet, she was very welcoming, and I watched her podcast. She's taking a break at the moment because she's having a baby. Keeps you nice and busy, but if you get a chance to go and look at her podcast, do, because she's such a lovely person. But she when I did the knit along, I actually won a halfway point prize. So I won a lovely knitting project bag. I haven't got it right here. I won a project bag, and when she sent it to me with some little sachets of, I think it was the Clipper Snore and Peace tea, and I'd never tried herbal tea before, and I was like, ooh, what's this, you know? And I wasn't gonna try it because I always thought herbal tea was just a bit, why would you, you know, a bit like nothing, just like leaves and water. Even though a brown tea, historically, you know, we Brits love our tea, I would just drink gallons of brown tea with milk in it, no problem. Yeah, not with herbal tea. I was like, anyway, I opened it and I sniffed it. I was like, that does smell really nice, but it can't taste nice, Kath. Well, I'll try it. You know, you never know unless you try. I tried it and I was like, oh, this is amazing. And I'm absolutely hooked. I got loads of that one, and then I found the pucker tea. I think it was easy. I can't remember why I got into the pucker ones, but anyway, I think I must have just got a variety of different ones, and now I'm like a little junkie for herbal teas. I've got an array of them on my desk at work, and a lot of people at work are like, why are you drinking curry? I'm not drinking curry, it's fennel, it's cardamom, it's really good for you, it tastes lovely. They're like, they think I'm a bit weird anyway, knitting and floating about with weird tea. But another girl at work's got into it now, and so we're like trading tea bags and making each other like a cup of love and a cup of feel new. Oh dear. But I've got Gabriella to thank for that. So she don't think she knows that. So Gabriella, if you're watching, thank you very much. You have started a lifelong love of herbal tea for me. And it worked out very well for me because I got COVID, the January before last. So nearly 2 years ago I had COVID. I had it really badly. And after I recovered, I just was off tea. I couldn't stand the thought of putting milk into tea and drinking milky brown tea. I could drink black tea-ish, but the idea of having my milky tea that I'd liked before was just like, I'm not having that. So actually, when I found the herbal teas, it's just like it filled a little tea-shaped hole in my life, and they're really good for you. And I'm hoping, anyway, this new turmeric tea is going to reduce the inflammation and fix my elbow so that I can knit. Fingers crossed. So yeah, that was one podcast I wanted to recommend. And another one I wanted to mention is, I really like Common Thread Fibre. I know that Nikki from Knitting with Cat Hair was mentioning her, and I went across to Common Thread Fibre to watch, and she is absolute delight to watch. She's really funny, and I recommend that one as well. I'm going to try and recommend podcasters at the end of each episode. I'm going to pinch Nikki's idea from the Knitting with Cat Hair podcast. She's got a Spread the Love segment, and I was like, what a gorgeous idea. I'm sure she won't mind me pinching that one because it's just spreading more love, and I'm sure she would like that. So yeah, that's my plan. And they're two podcasts that I really, really enjoy. And there's one more thing before I go. Charlie, are you going to come and say hi? Come on in. I've got a dog that I don't know if you've heard snuffling in the background. Come on in. And I thought we should probably say hi. Can we see you? Hang on a second. Let's put that down a bit. Hang on. There. Charlie, what's this? Can you see over there? You're just going to start barking if I point out the window. This is Charlie. He's very, very silly, aren't you? I've knitted for him. He's not sure about it. He's got a little dog jumper that I might show in another episode that matches my partner's jumper that I knitted for my partner. You're lovely, aren't you? Yeah. He is a cross between a pug and a King Charles Spaniel. So he's a companion dog. He likes cuddles. He's like a little cat, aren't you? He says he's not. He's not like a little cat at all. But if you can hear snorting, snoring, coughing or barking whilst I'm filming, this is why. You're ridiculous, aren't you? He likes to bark at sparrows and the kitchen drawer shutting, things like that. But you're my little companion, aren't you, while I knit? You don't like my knitting because it tickles you. Yeah. So thank you very much for watching. And I don't know if there's anything else to say really, apart from we need to keep knitting to keep ourselves warm, apparently. Can't think of anything else, can you? No. Thank you very much for watching. I will be back again next month, and keep warm and keep knitting. And I'm just going to put some footage up now of mine and James's trip to Yarndale. Bye.